It's been over 5 years since WWE gave us fans the dream match we had been yearning for, that being John Cena versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Truly a dream come true, and personally a match I never thought would ever happen. It was icon versus icon, the two wrestlers who led their respective eras, finally getting in the ring together so we could see who was the true greatest of all time. Now, of course, a match that was announced a year in advance can't just take place on any monthly pay-per-view or in an episode of Monday Night Raw. No, this match must take place at the grandest stage of them all, that being WrestleMania. And WWE did an excellent job of promoting this match, as that year's Mania became the most purchased WWE pay-per-view in history. The success of this show has caused a major shift in the company's booking, with WWE now favoring to plan rivalries months or years in advance, with them eventually culminating at WrestleMania. And it has had mixed results. On one hand, every WrestleMania feels like an even bigger occasion than before, because you know they've been building towards this for the entire year. But what that does to the weekly programming that is Raw, SmackDown, and their pay-per-views is give us a product that is too afraid to take risks, and it's ultimately just not that interesting. Let me start by referring to something that I think could help make my point clear. Let's talk about Marvel's cinematic universe. Ever since 2008, with the release of Iron Man, Marvel has been consistently releasing popular films featuring superheroes from Captain America to Thor, with all these characters' stories taking place within the same continuity, or cinematic universe as it's called. Throughout the years, Marvel has been expanding their film universe with ongoing storylines and sequels to films that continue to develop their characters and present them with new challenges to face. This in principle is no different than WWE's own programming, although Marvel has started to receive criticism from their fans. Fans have pointed out how the cinematic universe leads to the individual characters' films feeling inconsequential due to Marvel not wanting these stories to affect their plans for the Avengers films. The Avengers being the movie where all their superheroes come together to face a greater evil. It just feels like these films are too afraid to alter the plot in any substantial way, and this can make these movies boring to some. Personally, I still love most of Marvel's films, but I won't act like I don't notice this issue in their storytelling. WWE's situation isn't much different. In fact, it's even worse, I would say. When you watch multiple episodes of Raw over the span of, say, 3 months, you start to notice its problems. Their shows constantly repeat matches and drag out rivalries without really moving forward with any of their characters, almost as if they're just stalling. Take a look at Kevin Owens' Universal Championship run, which started in August of last year. Many fans could have predicted the impending breakup of Owens and Jericho. It was only a matter of time. Now, while it was understandable to drag out this storyline, as the breakup wouldn't mean much if the two hadn't been a team for a long enough time for us fans to become emotionally attached to them. The way they decided to fill the gap was just uninspired. The first 2 months were spent with Owens and Rollins feuding, both with the same results, having Jericho interfere to help Owens win. After this, Reigns enters the title picture and he faces Owens for the next 2 months, with both matches once again ending with some interference. If this doesn't already sound like such repetitive booking, during this entire time we had a variation of these 4 guys, being Rollins, Owens, Jericho, and Reigns, fighting each other in a multitude of matches. For example, Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns faced each other 4 times on Raw during this time, one of those times being inside a steel cage. Geez, why did I ever have a WWE Network subscription? I kinda feel ripped off right now. And this doesn't even include the many tag matches these 4 guys were involved in at this time. And this took up nearly half a year of their programming. And in the end, what did it even accomplish? Who benefited from these matches? How did spending 5 months copy and pasting the same episode of Raw to make Owens a more credible champion? How did any of these 4 characters develop during this time? The answer to all those questions is it didn't, because it was just filler. Once WrestleMania season came around, we saw the stories we had oh so been craving. Kevin Owens finally turned on Jericho in a brilliant segment, which catapulted the two to a United States title match. Seth Rollins finally got to get his revenge on Triple H, who conveniently decided to show his face now, for costing him the Universal Championship in favor of helping Owens win the title, and help kickstart Rollins' redemption storyline after he decided to defect from the Authority. And Reigns feuded with The Undertaker to prove he was the big dog. Now these rivalries have some depth to them and sound much more interesting than what we had been getting before, in my opinion. And I'm fine with waiting for these matches, but you have to fill your show up with interesting storylines throughout the year too. Character development isn't supposed to be start and stop. It should be a continuous part of the show. This is where that connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe I made earlier comes into play. Marvel can't afford for a superhero to die in their own movies, or for any major change to occur in their universe because they have to consider how it affects the overall universe. When WWE has a plan for what the next WrestleMania will look like, they have to make sure no characters or plot points are completely altered, which gives us monotonous storylines like Owen's title reign. However, there is a positive to Marvel's films. Their characters do develop with each film, and their stories are essential in order to understand who they are and what their goals are in the next Avengers movie. Character development is what drives their movies, and they succeed because of it, and that's what WWE fails to understand. Although despite how negative I've been throughout this video, it looks like things are getting better. We just saw Brock Lesnar defend his Universal Championship against Samoa Joe at Great Balls of Fire, and now he's locked in a rivalry with Braun Strowman. Both of these matches are huge and are doing wonders for the two challengers because it's not often we see Lesnar have some serious competition. On top of all of this, we have Reigns versus Cena scheduled for the No Mercy pay-per-view, and so far, the promos they've cut on each other have been nothing short of jaw-dropping. It's the most interesting, non-Mania storyline we've seen in years, bar none. Funnily enough, I've heard fans actually criticize the company for giving away this match at a B-level pay-per-view and not doing it at WrestleMania. I was shocked to hear this because I was excited to be getting this match now. After having filler storylines for too long, it's very refreshing to get a match that feels important. Now, of course, if this match ends in a disqualification and they end up dragging this rivalry on until WrestleMania, then you can just disregard this part of the video.